Out to that breaking news in Herndon, Virginia. Right now, crews are working to capture a black bear who apparently likes it around the DMV. He's been wandering all across the area, landing today in Herndon, Virginia. And about an hour ago, our cameras captured the bear finally coming down the tree. It quickly ran off, but climbed another one. Our Katie Lusso is there on Bear Watch tonight. Katie, where is Elden now?
Yeah, me and half the neighborhood out here on Bear Watch. Elden is up there in the tree where he has been now for quite a while. He's just hanging out there, living his best life, or maybe not, but he has not come down out of this tree. This is his second tree here in Herndon. He's on Center Street now. He started out on Elden Street, and now he is over on Center Street, and he is still up in that tree. I want to bring in Corporal Will from the Herndon Police Department. We spoke with you earlier. It has now been several hours. Talk to me about what is happening behind us right now.
So right now we've got wildlife conservation over there, and they're waiting to safely tranquilize the bear. And then we have Fairfax Fire and Rescue here as well, and they're going to make sure that the bear is able to be transported down safely. And then they're going to load it up into the truck and remove it from the area, make sure it gets taken out to the wild.
What has been kind of happening? We obviously saw him come down out of that tree. Where did he take you guys before he went up there?
So to be honest, he just ran straight back, kind of did a U-turn, and then saw people, and then ran up into that tree that he's in right now. He didn't go more than 100 feet from where he was originally at in the first tree.
Okay, so it's fair to say that this little guy is pretty scared.
He is very scared. He's more scared of us than we are of him.
Yeah, I know there's been a ton of people out here. We've seen fire trucks going by. What kind of impact is that having? Are you seeing more movement from him when that kind of noise starts to build up?
He starts crawling up a little bit higher, and right now he's about as high as he can go, just sitting there waiting for everyone to leave. If everyone left and there's no one around, he'd probably come down and keep on moving, but due to the crowd that we have here and all the excitement, he's not coming down anytime soon.
I know earlier you guys wanted him to stay up in that tree. We're trying to keep him there.
Correct.
What now? Do you guys still want him to stay up in the tree, or you need him to come down?
We need him to come down. He's up a little bit too high for the tranquilizer to be effective, so we want to bring him down a little bit more, and once he comes down, the tranquilizer is going to have a greater effect on him.
Okay, so talk to me about this little guy. What do you guys know about him at this point? We know he's been on quite a trip today.
He's been on quite a trip. We know that he originally started in Silver Spring, Maryland, made it to McLean, then Vienna, then Reston, and now Herndon, and have no idea where he's going, what his plan is. He's young, he's only about a year old. He's really not that big, just probably got away from his mom recently and just venturing out on his own, trying to find his own place.
I know prior to working here in Herndon, you have a little experience. You lived in Alaska, you said?
Born and raised, yeah.
Okay, so you know a little bit about bears.
A little bit, yeah.
You're putting some of that knowledge to use today, I expect.
Trying to, yeah. You're making sure not get too close, but then also make sure that bear knows that I am there. So, like I said, he's more scared of me than I am of him.
Okay, so right now he has not been shot with the tranquilizer.
Correct, correct. He needs to come down probably about 10 more feet before they're going to be able to effectively do that.
I saw some of the fire trucks pull up. Is there a plan to climb up the tree? We saw somebody getting climbing gear.
Yes, so if the bear ends up getting stuck in the tree after getting tranquilized, then the fire department will go up there and lower him down onto the ground.
And how long does it usually take from when he is hit with that tranquilizer?
So that's a good question. I honestly don't know that. They said anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
You guys have been out here since what, around 1 o'clock?
A little bit longer than that, yeah. It's we started about 8:15 with the first bear call, and then it just haphazardly since then, and then out at this specific location since about 1 o'clock.
I know an officer came over here and was like, listen, if the bear runs this way, don't talk to the bear, don't touch the bear.
Right,
you know,
right.
What is the messaging you're sending to people in this neighborhood who, I know half of them are out here,
Right.
but those that are in their homes or have pets and things like that, what is the message to them right now?
So we want to make sure that your pets are inside. You don't have little kids playing in the backyard. Everyone wants to be a looky-loo just because it's a bear in Herndon and it's something that doesn't happen every day. We encourage everyone to stay someplace safe on your front porch, back porch, wherever, somewhere close where you can get inside if you have to. We don't want you to approach the bear. The bear, after it gets tranquilized, has the ability to continue to move. And so even if it does come down after without intervention from the fire department, the bear's likely to take off running in one direction or another.
Have you, since you've been with the Herndon Police Department, have you had a bear come into town cause this much chaos before?
Never. I talked to one of my sergeants, and he said he's never seen a bear in Herndon, and he's been with the Herndon Police Department for 23 years.
So you guys really, you got your hands full. You don't even know how to deal with this.
Correct. Yeah, this is very new to all of us.
Okay, so talk to me about the other officers that are here. I know they're from the Wildlife Resources, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's who we were waiting on earlier, that's the biologist?
That's correct. We have the biologists and the conservation police here. The biologists are the ones that are in charge of doing the tranquilizing and then transporting the bear out of here. And then the conservation police are just making sure that nothing bad happens to the bear, and if the bear needs to be put down, they would put it down. But that's not the route we're going with. That's why we have the biologists on scene.
At what point does a decision have to be made about doing something? How long can he stay up in that tree? Does he need to come down?
Eventually he's going to need to come down just because we've shut down a good portion of Elden Street, and so it's causing a major havoc to our traffic. And then obviously we've got all these people out here that are looking. So at this point we're not going to be able to just let the bear stay, because you're going to get people going in the backyard, try and take pictures, get close, and we're going to have to do something.
Is there a plan for that yet, or you guys aren't there yet?
So we've got the plan in place. The conservation police are standing by, and then the biologist has got the tranquilizer gun all set up and ready to go. They're just trying to keep some distance from the tree, wait for the bear to come down a little bit, and then when the bear comes down, they're going to shoot the tranquilizer into it.
Okay. And now how far down does he need to get? Because I don't even see him at this point. Can you see him?
He's probably about halfway up on the right-hand side. He needs to come down about 10 feet.
And, you know, we've seen him going up, we've seen him coming down, we saw him throwing around the branches at some point. Could you see what he was doing up there?
He was just frustrated. He was snapping his jaws at me and the conservation police officer earlier, snarling, growling. He's just tired and frustrated and wants to come down.
I know every few minutes we see like them start to get ready. Is that what we're seeing happen right now? We see them putting out that tarp. Is this part of the plan?
It is. I'm not sure if the bear's on the tarp now and they're getting ready to move it. I didn't see anything as far as shooting, but...
Yeah, it looks like he's still up there. So I guess they're kind of hoping he comes down, but has he been shot by the tranquilizer at this point?
I'm not sure, just because I wasn't over there and I didn't see it. I know that they were waiting. We had some people in the backyard on the house next door that were not in the way, but they're afraid that you had kids over there, and so if that tranquilizer dart had missed, it's got a very potent drug in there, and we didn't want it to affect any kids if they decide to run over and touch it. So
a lot of safety
is first.
Yeah, safety measures in place. Obviously, they've got that tarp. Underneath the tarp, they had blown up some garbage bags. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So the bear weighs probably about 150, 200 pounds. Even though you got a lot of guys holding that tarp, it's still going to bow down into the garbage bags, and so they just want to lessen the blow to the bear.
Okay. All right, so obviously we see more activity. Can you tell if the bear is still up there? Is he still?
He's come down a bit.
He's come down a bit, okay. Gotcha. So he has come down a little bit, they're saying, and I think I see him right there. I don't know if you can see him as well.
Yes.
Is that to the point where he needs to be for them to use the tranquilizer?
That's my understanding.
Okay. All right. So once they get him down, which will hopefully be soon, I imagine that's the goal.
I hope so, yes.
I know you hope so. We have obviously seen this crowd just get completely silent. I mean, to see this many people out here watching this, what are your thoughts on that?
To me, it's crazy just because, everyone thinks, nice, soft bear, friendly, and even though he's only a 1-year-old juvenile, he still has very sharp claws, very sharp teeth, and it's still a bear, it's still a wild animal. So to me, it's crazy. I don't know that I would be getting this close if it wasn't for the job, but...
But you guys have kept people back a distance. It does seem like he's pretty contained. I mean, he ran away from the crowd the first time, and that's
Correct.
pretty consistent with the way they behave, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so the likelihood of him coming this way
Is pretty small.
Okay.
It just, once that tranquilizer kicks in, we don't know what he's going to do, because it's going to kick in pretty quickly with his increased heart rate, go through his body, and he can go in any direction because he's not going to be thinking correctly.
Do you know much about the tranquilizer that they're using?
I honestly don't. I'm not sure what they're using. I didn't see.
Okay. In your time in Alaska, did you ever witness something like this?
No, most of the time people stayed away from bears unless they were going hunting. They never got anywhere close to them, outside of tourists. And if a tourist got close to a bear, more than likely state troopers were pretty quick behind them.
All right, well, thank you so much. I know you're exhausted, and I'm sure you want to get over there to find out what's happening.
Yeah.
If something's happening, you got to let us know, okay?
All right, will do.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. And Leslie, I know you had some questions if you want to go ahead.
Well, you asked a good number of them. It really is a fascinating conversation. And I think what is really so important to note here is the detail and the concern with which the crews are taking to ensure that this bear is going to survive, the bear is going to be transported safely, and then placed in the wild where he can be in his natural habitat, which is probably something that we all hope that we hear, but it is quite another thing to hear it articulated and to see this happening. Also, I think it's pretty interesting that the people gathered may not understand how they might be contributing to the fear factor here, even as they're staying back and trying to be as quiet as possible.
Yeah, and Leslie, the officer, is actually going back over there to kind of check on the situation. It does not, from what I can see, look like the bear is there. It looks like the bear is still up in the tree. But, you know, everyone here is so quiet. It's crazy. People were, you know, excited before, really chatty. Now they've kind of quieted down now that we're watching this activity unfold. Everyone's kind of wondering what's going to happen next. And it's not clear, as you heard the officer say, if they had been able to use the gun to tranquilize or shoot the tranquilizer dart. We wouldn't necessarily hear that happen. But we did see the wildlife resource officer trying to aim numerous times. So, you know, maybe he's going to come down. We obviously know he likes to travel, if you will. So maybe he's going to come down on his own. They are waiting and hoping that is the case. But obviously, you know, hearing that he was snarling and kind of growling at the officer, that obviously gives them a little bit of concern. They have to be safe, too. They obviously don't want to get hurt here, even though we know that black bears are usually scared and run away. He's been up there a while. He's been frustrated. He's probably hungry. He's been traveling all over. And now he's got all these people in his space watching him, making noise. So you got to imagine he's probably terrified right now.
Yeah, that bear has feelings. He is a little frustrated by all of this.
He certainly does.
We know that the bear is wearing a tracker, and that's how we know how he has traversed the area from Silver Spring to McLean to Herndon. Do we know who's actually watching or getting the data from the tracker and what will happen as a result of that? Is it the conservation folks there, or is there some other entity that is capturing all of the data?
You know, I can ask. I do know that obviously, as we heard, they have a clear idea of where he's been. And you got to imagine if he does take off again, they're going to find him. So, you know, I'm sure that's even more frustrating for him. He can't get away from them. They're just going to keep finding him. So I don't have that exact answer for you yet, but it does seem like the information is being shared with the Herndon Police Department and those who are on scene, which is the Fairfax County Fire Department. Obviously, Wildlife Resources is here. So lots of different people here that are kind of sharing information. Obviously, right now, he's not going anywhere. He is up in that tree, and there are a lot more people. Obviously, the first time we saw him come down out of the tree, there was only like 4 or 5 people there. Now there's a whole bunch of people kind of waiting and surrounding, and they do still have that tarp out, so it looks like they're hoping he's going to kind of land in that tarp any time now. It's really just a waiting game.
It really is. I'm still so fascinated about the tracker and who was able to track him in the first place, and how, you know, how they determined who puts the tracker on and what happens. Obviously, we're all watching because it looks like there's a lot of interest, and the crew seems to be getting a little bit closer to the tree from where I can see it. Maybe it looks a little different from you, but they seem to be moving with a little more urgency, perhaps.
Definitely, and it looks like they're actually pulling on the branches a little bit, so I don't know if something's about to happen now, if they're trying to coax him down. I can't really tell. James, what are you seeing up there? Is he just kind of moving around?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
It's him that I'm framed on right now.
So we're trying to figure out. It's really hard to see him because of the positioning that we're in, and he is up right by the trunk, the tree trunk. So, but we see them pulling from down below. We see them pulling on the branches and trying to clear some space for him to come down safely. Obviously, that is the goal here, as we've mentioned so many times. They want to get him down safely.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we do see him again. Yeah, we see him again, and a lot more people are kind of circling around. People have started to pull out their phones. It looks like something's starting to happen. Somebody's bringing a ladder closer. All right, people are starting to get a lot more excited. Lots of phones out right now. They're straightening out that tarp.
We have to move. We got to get in front of these people.
Go ahead. Go ahead. So we're going to move a little bit closer. I think we're going to try to do, or go up a little bit. My colleague James Hash is here trying to tell us. Let's see if I can ask this gentleman. Hey, sir, would you mind coming over here? Would you be comfortable talking to us for Channel 9? Yeah? What brings you out here today? Obviously
The
a bear?
yes. They asked us to get behind a barricade. Get it? Barricade.
I got that.
And we barely get to see him through the tree right now. He's just kind of a black dot in there.
Yeah.
They're putting up the ladder also, and
Yeah.
it's been a few hours, so we're looking for action at this point.
It's been a crazy day.
Yes, for
Ever
sure.
thought you'd see a bear in Herndon?
No, I've lived in Herndon for 25 years, and I've never seen a bear. This is the first one.
Yeah.
I saw you interviewing the police officer from Alaska. I guess that's more of a thing there.
Well, he works here, but he's lived in Alaska, so he had a little knowledge. Yeah, he was giving us a little knowledge, but it does look like they're bringing something, or they're pulling on the leaves a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's got the whole neighborhood out here.
Everyone's out here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for chatting with us. So, lots of people coming out here. They're just excited. This is an exciting thing to happen in Herndon. Not every day you see a bear, let alone a bear in Herndon. Again, we are on Center Street, right at the corner of Elden. And, I didn't get a chance to ask the officer about the name we've been told that he has been given, which is Elden. Not clear if that's his official name or just his nickname. We'll try to get clarity on that for you, obviously. But it does seem like there's more movement happening by the tree. They're kind of putting that ladder up now. Looks like they've extended it. One of their wildlife resource officers is climbing up, and that is the officer we had seen putting on the climbing gear earlier. So it looks like he's going for it. He's trying to see if he can get to the bear. It does look like he's pretty close to getting him.
Got it, and he's got to get to a certain distance.
Yeah, it looks like something's happening there.
Yeah, before he can use the tranquilizer gun, and obviously because he's able to get up there, it sounds like they're at a place where they can do this hopefully safely. It also was great to see that angle that you showed us, because we could see the tarp, we could see those blown up trash bags underneath, which gives us a perspective of what's happening. I can see that the officer is on the ladder. He appears to be motioning down to some of the other crew down on the ground, and then James has given us the best view he can to show us where the bear is, so we can see the bear in proximity to the conservation biologist there, whose charge is to tranquilize this bear, get him down safely so he can then be transported. What a rough thing for a little guy to go through. 1 year old, far from home, scared as can be, running for his life, hungry and frustrated and probably warm because it's 80 degrees, and really kind of just wanting to get out of there. I'm watching closely now. I can't see the biologist anymore. Katie, can you?
So I can see him. He is up maybe about 3 feet below where it looks like the bear is.
Okay.
It's we don't know if the tranquilizer gun has been shot, so it does, you got to think that maybe it has been, and that's why he's comfortable getting so close again.
Sure.
Especially knowing that the other officer was saying, he was growling and snarling at them, so they're taking extra precautions as well, because they don't want to get injured here, and they don't want to scare him and have him fall and get hurt, but they do have that tarp ready to try and catch him. And I do want to mention there are a lot of officers and firefighters and people around that tarp holding it up. It looks like they're actually handing, I think, maybe the tranquilizer gun up to the resource officer. He climbed down for a minute. He's climbing back up. So maybe this is when it's going to kind of happen.
He's clearly got something in his hand from what we can see. It's big.
Yeah.
It looks like it's orange.
It's a chainsaw? Okay, so we're hearing it's a chainsaw, and actually we can hear the chainsaw going. So it looks like they're cutting some of the branches maybe to get closer to him. I don't know if those branches are blocking him. Okay, so you can see the branches coming down now.
Okay.
And the whole crowd just got completely silent. Everyone is glued to this, watching what happens next.
Yes, it's quite a barricade, as your friend said to you out there as they're watching all of this. So
he's got jokes.
This is interesting, so we can see.
Okay, it does look like the wildlife resource officer actually just came down.
Okay.
So it looks like somebody else is about to climb up there now, or they're fixing the ladder maybe. They're raising it, yeah. So what they're doing is they're raising the ladder higher. It must be that branch was in the way and they couldn't get closer. So it looks like they're going to give it another go after they get that ladder up just a little bit higher, and it looks like, yeah, the ladder is getting pretty close to where the bear is. I don't know if you're able to see that through our camera lens at this point, but okay, he's about to climb back up there. He's on his way up. Yeah, he's on his way back up there. Seeing what he's going to do next. Okay, he is right next to that bear. And
Yeah,
it doesn't
he's right
look
up
like
on
the
the
bear
bear.
is moving.
Oh, the bear's
there he goes.
falling.
All right,
There
so
he
the bear
is.
is down. Yeah,
There he is.
He
and
is
they've
down.
caught the bear.
Everyone
the
out
crew
here
is there.
clapping.
They caught the bear.
Yeah, and Leslie, take a listen. Everyone's cheering. All right, so the bear is down. Obviously.
Make a hole!
Okay, so we're just waiting to see what's going to happen next, but the bear is down off the ground from the tree, and he's laying on the ground, and we're just trying to.
Ah, and there he is. Remember
Okay,
they
he's
said
moving.
that he could
All
be
right, he's coming this
tranquilized
way.
and kind of running
Yeah.
away.
All right. All right.
So
Okay,
Katie, I
he's
can
coming this
see.
way.
Katie, I
We are
can
going to
see.
stay put.
Katie, I
Yeah.
can see what's happening, and I can narrate
He's
a
coming
little
around.
bit.
Yeah. All right, well, we were told to kind of stay put, so that is what we are going to do. Oh, he's scared. He's terrified.
So as the officer was telling
Okay,
you,
it looks like
sometimes
he-
after being tranquilized, it can still allow the bear to move, which is why they were asking for people to give that bear a lot of latitude. You don't want to be any closer to it because the tranquilizer can make their heart race and they can still move a little bit, but hopefully the bear is in a position where the biologist can capture him safely and transport him. Can you see that happening just yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're getting a little closer. Obviously, there's a ton of people out here, so we are trying to get a little bit closer, as close as possible. I actually do not see where this little guy went. Do you see him? So it looks
hard
like
for
some
me
people
to
are starting to take this a little bit more seriously. People are starting to back away a little bit. Some people got closer, as told not to, but others are taking their kids and kind of getting a little bit away. He was starting to come towards us, but now, all right, he's getting a little closer. All right, where is this little guy? Do you see him, Hash?
All right, if you're just joining us,
All right,
you've
it
been
looks like everyone's
watching
kind of
some
focused on the
incredible
space.
coverage. If you're just joining us, you've been watching coverage of a bear that was in a tree in Herndon. He's been romping around for a while, popping from one tree to the next. He has been tranquilized. He has been caught. We are waiting to find out where the process is in terms of him being transported, but it looks like some rather
He is down, yeah.
spirited
does look
activity
like
for
they
a
have him,
day
Leslie.
is coming down.
Okay, so Leslie, I can tell you it does look like they may have him.
Okay.
It looked like they were kind of behind these bushes right here where you see the man with the tranquilizer gun. I think he's right back there from what we could see. We did see some people putting on gloves, medical gloves, trying to get a little closer, so I think they're just waiting for him to calm down maybe. But, you know, it does seem like they do have him right there in that area. And now, of course, the goal is to get him into the truck so they can get him safely back, make sure he's okay, figure out his tracker, make sure that's working in case he decides to go on another trip. What a journey it has been for this little guy, just a year old, making his way from Silver Spring, Maryland, as you heard, all the way through Virginia. He was in McLean, he was in Reston, and then he ended up here in Herndon, where it looks like he is in custody, if you will, of these officers. But, you know, we're not seeing
Katie,
him brought out.
I'm going to
quite yet.
interrupt you, Katie, to take it back as we wind down to the last 30 seconds of this coverage. And of course, we'll be keeping people updated on what happens here. A little bit of a good ending, the best ending possible for Elvin. He's been caught at this point. He'll be transported. That process may take a little while, and then he will be sent back to the wild in his natural habitat, which ultimately is the best way to get him to safety. All right, quite a lot of excitement in Herndon today, Topper.
Good stuff. It looks like he's safe. That's good.
That is the best possible outcome. That's it for us.